Hi, it's the month of love at Thrive, and I'm back with my IGTV with Mugda, talking about one more way in which you can create some more love for yourself. Now, what I'm going to talk about might seem a little random, but trust me, it's there in all of us. And I want to speak about that inner critic and silencing that inner critic. Most of us, when we start going through with life, when we create a new goal for ourselves, we often end up self-sabotaging, or we just fail at it, and then we feel so miserable, or sometimes we just become so anxious, or we become depressed, and we can't really figure out what's going on. Now, each of us has this little beautiful child within us. And at some point of time when you were younger, maybe you were 5, maybe you were 7, maybe you were 8, maybe you were 14, at some point this little girl or boy inside you was wounded. With a life experience, with something that somebody said, maybe an authority figure was really, really mean. This little girl, this little boy got really, really wounded and injured at that time. And as a defense mechanism, what most of us end up doing, look, see small children, right? When they get hurt, what they do is they learn that, oh, I should never do this because it can cause some kind of pain. So this is what we do with our life experiences as well. When we are trying to learn something new and someone gives us really mean feedback when we fail, we suddenly come to the conclusion that it's not safe to learn. Or when we're trying to make a new friend and we're trying to bond with someone and form a connection, and for whatever reason that person gives you some terrible experience, you suddenly come to the conclusion that, oh, it's not safe to make new friends. So you start going deeper and deeper into that shell. And when you start doing that, when you start creating a shell around you, when you start making this wall around you, it just becomes harder and harder for you to start experiencing love. And often as children, when we start having these experiences, all these sounds, all these voices, all these little nasty comments, they become part of your own inner critic, and you start reciting these to you yourself. So my one thing, if I had to give you one tip today, would be to silence that inner critic. And the best way to do that is to go back to how you were as a child. Just start tracing your journey back. What I've done with some of the patients who've come to Thrive, because see, at Thrive, yes, we do your blood work, yes, we figure out what kind of food you should eat, and yes, we do all of that, right? But if you're really good at researching, you'll find this information online. It's not that hard to figure out what you should really eat for good health. But what happens to a lot of people is when they start taking these steps, they lack the support, right? They lack the system that's really going to be there for them when they're failing. So that's what we do at Thrive. I mean, beyond really looking at your blood work and figuring out your nutrition, we really are there to kind of support you and help you with your journey. And that's where I come to this aspect of your inner critic, your inner child. What I have seen is a lot of people really beat down on themselves when they have a failure. Like, maybe you're not supposed to eat some sugar and you ate it, and then like you start telling yourself, oh, you can never do these things. You start remembering all the times your dad, your mom, everyone told you things that you fail and stuff like that, right? So at Thrive, what we've done is we've often taken people on this journey of looking at where did the trauma really begin, where did the wounds really begin. And once you go there, once you go to that place, so you could do this yourself. Just maybe put on some really nice calming music, use your headphones so that nothing else is there to distract you, and then just sit down and maybe 10-15 minutes from wherever you are at this current point of time in your life. Maybe you're 40, maybe you're 50, maybe you're 30, doesn't matter. Just see if you can retrace steps right down to when you can remember the earliest memory you have, and just start seeing where someone told you things that you started believing about yourself, nasty things that aren't really true. Start making notes of these, and you'll start noticing how some childhood story that someone told you, and when I say story, it's not these fairy tales, I'm telling you the story about yourself that someone told you, how that story is still impacting you as an adult. Because what happens is, if we don't clear out these childhood stories, we still react to our life experiences like a child and not like the adults we are supposed to be. Imagine you're a hurt, wounded little child, and then you experience a similar situation as an adult, and instead of using your adult senses, instead of using the wisdom that you have built over time, you revert to that childlike state of responding to this. So you either become defensive, or you become very angry, or you just throw a tantrum, and that's not conducive to anyone's growth, right? So when you start healing your inner child, she is or he is the most beautiful little fragment of the universe experiencing itself. It is divine consciousness that is there in you, and that child is just here to learn, to have fun, to be curious, to explore, to experiment, to make friends, to form connections, to feel love. That is what this child is here for. So just go back and find out what the child in you really wants to do. Maybe this child wants to eat ice cream all days, right? So that's okay. But when you approach the experiences this inner child wants through the lens of, let me learn what's going to happen here, instead of approaching it like, oh no, you've had too much fun and now you should be guilty about having fun. Like, that's something my dad did to me, right? Every time we went out and had fun, like we watched a movie or cousins came over, at the end of the day, in the night, he would be like, now you had fun, na? So for the next 1 week, you have to be very, very serious and good and study and do everything. And you have no idea for how many years I carried that pattern in my brain, like, oh, I did something fun, now I better make up for that fun and like be this serious good girl, right? So I don't know if a lot of people have that, but go back to your childhood, see where some of these really crappy stories came in from, and find out what the child in you loves doing. You see how children are, right? They're just playing, they are exploring, they are so curious. Like, even breaking a doll, like pulling the hands and feet apart, is because they want to see what really is happening, like what is the doll made of, right? So stay curious, spend time with children. I'm telling you, it's the best thing you can do for your inner child, because children are so honest, they are so beautifully transparent, and they're full of joy. They're like full of joyful life. So spend time with children, not because you have to be the adult with them, not because you have to parent them, or not because you have to watch them, or like, don't spend time with children from that perspective. Spend time with children to learn how to be a child, and you learn so much. Just be curious. Just do something every day just because you wanted to do it, right? Like, not for any reason, not because it's going to do something, like give you something. Just do it, like how kids are. And then you'll start experiencing what life has to really offer you. The fun, the joy, the love, have you seen a child who's just suddenly taken for a ride in a car, and how they look out of the window with big eyes and like everything is amazing? Just be like that with your life, right? Like, just be that child in the window looking out of the car with wind on your face and like big eyes, ears open, sensing everything, and you'll experience so much love for life through that. So that's it for today. I'll see you again. February is the month of love. March we're doing something more fun, and any questions you have, I'm always around. Just ping me. I love talking, and I'm right here for you.